Hi, folks. Andrea here. Top Fitness Strategies. I am the face who runs the place, as you well know. Hey, you probably used to get into 5-minute podcasts that I'm doing, but every so often I'm going to sprinkle in a couple of interviews for you here with different health professionals from around the globe. And today we got something pretty cool. We're going to be talking about, I just have my notes. I just lost my notes. We're going to talk about how to stay committed and consistent in your health and well-being. And one of my clients, or one of my guests right here, I'll actually bring him on the screen right now. Carlos Reyes. I knew
There you
I'd
go.
mess that up. Carlos Reyes is my guest today, and one of his specialties is working with his clients and help them stay committed and consistent in their health and well-being. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, Carlos and I, we just realized before we went on air here, before we started recording, that him and I shared the same space in a guest podcast, in a panel podcast several months back. So it was pretty cool, and we reconnected about that. And also, we currently work in the same kind of space with the same kind of clientele, I should say, mostly clientele over 50 years old, right? So
Yes.
all that being said, I want to introduce you. And now you can also say you're part of Top Fitness Strategy. So welcome aboard, Carlos.
Thank you, Andrew. It's great to be here, and it's great to see you again.
Okay. Great to see you again, too, my friend. So, usually at this point, I read the bio that my guests give to me, but I like it. I like to hear my guests tell about their story a little bit, where they came from. So, how did you get into all this health and fitness stuff? First of all, before we get into our topic today, could give us a brief background of who you are and where you came from.
I'm a 35-year veteran of the health and fitness industry. So I just celebrated my 35th year. And long story short, I got into the business. I've always been a fitness buff. As a kid, I did martial arts. I was on sports teams. I got my first weight set when I was 12. So I've always been a physical kind of person. But I didn't enter the business as a way to stay in the business. Basically, I was an art major in college, and when I got out of college, I didn't want to be a starving artist, so I wanted to find a job. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought working in the health and fitness industry as a membership sales associate might be fun. I'd be around fit people, I'd love to work out, and I thought that would be a good way to make some money while I pursued my artistic endeavors.
Okay. And then from there, you said, you know what, I kind of like this fitness thing, and so I'm going to stick with it. And so, or did you just have people come to you and say, hey, you know what, I like the way you're doing things. I want to see if you can train me or not. How did the training part come into play?
Well, I started out as a membership sales associate, and I was terrible at sales. I had a horrible time overcoming objections. And but we had one promotion where I would go out on the street with guest passes, and the guest passes had my name on them, and I would hand them out to people. And people would come in for a personal training session, one-on-one training session with me, and that's
Okay.
where that's where I got to know them. That's where they got to know me, and that's where they got to see the benefits firsthand of what it was like to work out and take better care of yourself. And I found that I was really good at connecting with people, and I just started getting more clients, more clients, more clients. And I found something that I really love to do. I've been at it for 34 years. I've got lots of testimonials and client results. So, here I am.
Okay. Well, you and I are a lot alike because I'm not the sales guy as well. I'm like yourself. I don't like to overcome objections. I say, no, this is what I have. You like it, great. If you're not, okay, whatever. I I don't like to try talking somebody into it. And to me, that's what overcoming objections are, is talking somebody into it in a roundabout way. Yeah, there's different ways to look at it. We all get it. Yeah. But I look at it this way: at my age, over 50 years old, you either want to do it or you don't. And if I have to pull you along, it's not the client I want, and we're not going to get the results that people are gonna be after anyway. Do you find that to be true as well?
I do. And that's why I like working with the over 50 population, because they understand that it's a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a partnership. I will do my part, right? That's what I bring to the table. But you also have to do your part. And so I find that they understand that much better than somebody who's younger or may have extrinsic goals like six pack abs or buns of steel or big
Mm-hmm.
biceps, where the people that I work with, it's more about quality of life, their ability to get out of bed in the morning without back
Yep.
pain,
Yep.
get through the day with still some energy reserves at the end of the day so they can enjoy their lives with their families. Being able to get to work with lots of energy. I work with lots of business owners, and you know they're inundated with stress and overwhelm. And so how do they handle that during the day? If I can help them do that, then they really appreciate that aspect of what I do to help them maintain their health and well-being.
Well, yeah, and I 100% agree with that. And I often said, and I still do at this point, and I, as an individual, I cannot motivate anybody to do anything. And I don't care. You could be the best trainer on the planet. You cannot motivate somebody. They have to motivate themselves. And I use the analogy, if you're laying on the couch, I can't get you off the couch unless I physically carry you off the couch. It's not going to do either one of us any good. But once you get off that couch and come to me and say, hey, I need some help, Katie, bar the door, baby. There's nothing I can't do, and there's nothing a good trainer can't do to get you to that next level. But the person has to want to be able to do it. So that's where the motivation comes in, if you ask me, that kind of thing. So that being said, the topic of the day is how do clients stay committed and consistent to their health and well-being. Let's hit the nail on the head here with this one. Um, Life happens to everybody. And I don't care what kind of background you have, what kind of family life you have, wherever you live, whatever. Especially if you're over 50 years old, life is going to happen. And
Absolutely.
it's easy to say, you know what, I'm done with it. I don't want to go on with this workout stuff, this health stuff. It's just too difficult at this point in my life. I'm too stressed out. So when you see people like that, and which I'm sure you do, um, how do you? And I don't want to say there's one because one size doesn't fit all in this one. I mean, everyone's different. How do you keep up with the people who say, no, this is getting too difficult, other things are getting in the way, I can't keep doing this? What do you, I don't want to say what do you do, because there's not, like I said, no cookie cutter thing, but what are the most common things that you, first of all, the common objections that people hear, and then second of all, how do you help surpass those, or here we go with the overcome the objections again that we talked about earlier?
Well, the one thing that I always go to with most of my or all of my clients is why. We always start with why. Why did you, especially if they're current clients, why did you start wanting to take better care of yourself? Right? What was the impetus? What was the desire that started? Because oftentimes the start is the hard part. Right? Once they start, then it becomes the process of keeping them motivated and keeping them excited, keeping them diligent about maintaining their health and well-being. That's easier than getting them to continually go back to their motivation. So like I said earlier, most of my clients come to me because they want improved quality of life. I'll give you one good example. I just celebrated the 8th anniversary with one of my clients who came to me when he was 70 years old. By all measures, successful in almost every single aspect of his life. But he had lost the ability to tie his own shoes. Now
Oh,
imagine
wow.
that. You're 70 years old and you don't have the mobility or the flexibility to tie your own shoes. And so his wife says to him, you're too young for this. And I'm tired of getting down on my knees to tie your shoes for you. You have to do something about this. And so he came to me with that single goal. Can you help me improve my body so I can tie my own shoes? And I said,
Interesting.
absolutely. And so we accomplished that. That led to him or his desire to get in and out of the bath by himself without any assistance. We accomplished that also. And during the pandemic, his oldest son had a baby, a little girl. And 2 years into the pandemic, he hadn't seen her, but he was going to fly to Australia to go visit her for the first time. And he came to me, he said, do you think I can get down on the floor to play with my granddaughter and get back up without any help, because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of my new grandkids?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, absolutely. And so you start with what's that one thing, what's that spark that got you started, and you go back to that when they start to lose their motivation, when they start to lose that desire. You remind them, this is how we started, this is how far we've come, we can keep on going. Just hold on to that, go back to that. I call it the well of motivation.
I like that. The well of motivation. I like that. You know, it's funny you mentioned the tying your shoe things because one of the podcasts that I did and one of the articles that I put out there is, do you, and I title it basically, do you get out of breath tying your shoes? Now, you and I, being in this industry, on this side of the industry, we have witnessed people who get out of breath tying their shoes.
For sure.
And to the person doing it, to them, it's not, they don't realize they're doing it. But because we look at it from different eyes, and this is not a bragging thing whatsoever, folks. This is because we're on this side of it. So we
Mm-hmm.
see it. When we see that, we're like, oh man, that person doesn't realize that they're that that bad off. And I'm not talking the James Bond coming out of the water out of the ocean with the speedos on. I'm just talking,
Mm-hmm.
they don't get it. They're not conscious of it. So once I make them aware of it, hopefully they're going to do something about it. Now, whether with me or somebody else, whatever. But when I see stuff like that, I want to make sure that the person realizes that they can get out of that. Do you look at things the same way like that as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, oftentimes I call it the inevitability of aging, right? We know that as we get older, things are going to get harder, but
Hmm.
there's something that you can do about that. You have the power to either circumvent that, delay that, or, not have to deal with it at all. There are things that you can do to take your better care of yourself, to improve your health and well-being as you
Hmm.
get older, that will allow you to continue to do things like tie your own shoes, to do things like walk up a flight of steps, to be able to sit down in an armchair and then get back up, right, with no assistance. I see it all the time, and the one thing, it's literally the fountain of youth: exercise, being able
Hmm.
to move your body in a functional way so you can continue to live your life in a high um, level of performance, right?
Hmm.
Satisfaction.
And I write stuff down as we go along here. Now, you said something that I am a huge fan of. Movement. Just move your body.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're over 50, over 60, and the older you get, the more um, crucial that is
Hmm.
to move your body. And we're
Hmm.
not saying go out and run a marathon. We're not saying go out and lift, bench press 300 pounds. That's not what we're saying at all. When we say move your body, we're just saying move your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Yeah. Yeah.
something that's going to move your body. And
Hmm.
then once you start, then we can direct you to where you want to go with whatever it is. And by you, I mean the client. Are you the same way as me with looking at that, or do you have different philosophies with that?
No, 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 absolutely. Again, we both work with the same demographic, right? Over 50.
Hmm.
And most of our clients are established individuals. They're CEOs, they're business owners, they're head of households, right? They're being pulled in multiple directions, and they're being overwhelmed by children, by partners, by spouses, by jobs, by teams, employees. Some of my clients are now being asked to become caretakers of their parents, right? And
Hmm.
so we can't over what we can't as health and well-being specialists or personal trainers or health coaches, we can't
Right.
overwhelm them with more. We have to figure out ways to make what we suggest to them efficient and effective in the shortest amount of time, right? And often, like we just said, it's just about getting up and moving around, right? Most of us, especially since the pandemic, have been sitting for much more than that's healthy for us. But for many of us, we have to sit. I mean, I have clients who have desk jobs. They have to sit all day, right? So I
Hmm.
can't ask them to get up in the middle of the day and go for a walk, in the middle of the workday. But what I can do is I can ask them to walk from their home or from their job to their home, or from, instead of taking the car, take public transportation, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs, you know,
Hmm.
um, because again, it proves their functional way of living in their lives, in their environments, right? So I try to make sure that I weave whatever I'm um, prescribing to my clients in a seamless way so they can incorporate it easily into their lives. And it
Hmm.
doesn't take a whole lot of effort, doesn't take a whole lot of time, and not too much thinking because they're overwhelmed already.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And one of the things that I encourage everybody to do, not just my clients, but everybody, when you go to the grocery store, to the mall, or to Sam's Club, Costco, whatever, instead of trying to find the closest parking spot, find the farthest one away. So you're going to
Sure.
walk a little extra. You know what? That's good for you.
That's right. I was just going to say that.
That's
That's
good
good
for
for
you.
you. That's right.
So the little things like that are what's going to get you to the next level, whatever that level is for client A, B, C, or D.
Mm-hmm.
So all that being said, and this goes back to the commitment and consistent of their health and well-being, and and maybe you look at this differently, but I don't think you do because you and I seem like we're alike. If I can get people in the mode to walk from the farthest parking spot to their store, and I keep telling them that, eventually they're going to think about that on their own. And
Yeah.
guess what? They're going to be consistent doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel people are doing that as well, or is that your?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, the start is the hard part. Once they get started and they see the results and they start to feel better and they start to move better, right? They have more energy throughout the day. They have better relations with the people around them because they're not tired and irritable all the time. They have more
Hmm.
energy, right? They're excited. You find that builds, right? So you start with a foundation and that builds upon the foundation, right?
Hmm.
Going back to my 70-year-old client who couldn't tie his shoes, we got him to tie his shoes. Now he can get in and out of the bathtub with no assistance, and he can get down on the floor and play with his granddaughter and
All
not be embarrassed
right.
that he needs help getting up. And so
That's
that's
great.
how it works. In a perfect world, you start out small with one goal, two goals, three goals, and you build upon those goals. And oftentimes, at least in my experience, the client starts to own their health and well-being and they start to ask you things. Well, can you think? Do you think we can do this? And do you think I can do that? And do you think I should try this? And do you think I should try that? Often that's the case. That's how it works.
No, that's great. Okay, up until now, we've been talking about the physical part of the health and well-being, i.e., exercising and body movement and everything else. What about, as I like to call this, the inside part, the nutritional part? How do you help them stay consistent and committed for the nutritional part of things? And I'm not talking. I don't want to get into specifics for dietary because everyone's different, and we can talk different diet fads all day long. That's not what I want to get into. Just keeping it simple. How do you approach them? Okay, if I help them get over the hump or thinking about nutrition, for lack of a better term, in this way, how can I make it so they're going to be consistently doing that even when I'm not around?
I encourage them to be conscious of what they put in their mouths. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is, right, so we're all busy, we're all overwhelmed. Oftentimes we're eating our lunches at our desks and we have 20 minutes to swallow whatever it is. Keep in mind that it takes about 20 minutes for the enzymes in your stomach to reach your brain to let it know that you're full, right? And so what I do with my clients is I encourage them to be conscious. And what I mean by that is be conscious of what you're putting in your mouth, right? So one thing that I like to do is I like to use this question: Am I hungry? Right? Because when you think about our society, we eat for a myriad of reasons, right? We eat when we're happy, we eat when we're sad, we eat to celebrate, we eat when we're bored, we eat in front of the TV because that's what we do. We eat when we have nothing else to do, right? And so I always
Hmm.
encourage my clients: if you're going to eat something or you want to eat something, the first question you should ask yourself is, "Am I hungry?" Right? And if you're hungry, then what are your choices? Right? What's your best choice? If you aren't hungry, then ask yourself, well, why do I want something to eat? Is there a better alternative? Can I go for a walk or should I have a glass of water? Because oftentimes thirst or dehydration can mask itself as a hunger signal, right? And so, from my experience, getting my clients to be more conscious of what, without making any major changes, being more conscious of what they're putting in their mouths before they put it in their mouths can make a huge difference because they're thinking about what they're feeding themselves. Okay? And then they can stop and pause and ask themselves, is this a good idea? Is there a better alternative, right? Do I have to have something to eat while I'm watching my favorite TV show or Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to have
Interesting.
that second slice of pizza, even though that first slice of pizza I haven't even finished digesting yet? Right?
We all love pizza. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
something else that and what you just said triggered something. I come from an Italian family. Both my parents came from Italy, and I'm here in the U.S. now. And so I was raised with the mentality that you eat at the dinner table or supper table, whatever the family table, as a family at certain times of the day, noon, at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, whatever your culture it is, and you eat when you're there, whether you're hungry or not. You're going to sit down and you're going to eat with the family. So it kind of goes against what you were just saying. I'm not saying that what you said was wrong. I totally agree with it. But when you have somebody like myself who is that's ingrained, okay, we got to eat at this time as a family, whether you're hungry or not, you're going to sit down at the table. I'm sure you've run into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So to go along with what you just said is, okay, if you're not hungry, why are you eating? So that's what I got out of what you were saying, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. But you also have to realize you have to nourish your body. So when you have somebody like that, like myself, that comes to you and says, "This is the times that I eat during the day with the family," how do you, I don't overcome that? I mean, and I don't know if I'm asking this question the right way or not. If you want to be consistent with your nutrition,
Well,
um,
it's just like your workout. It's about planning, right? So if you know that you're going to have breakfast every single day at 8 o'clock, you're going to have lunch at 12 o'clock, and you're going to have dinner at 6. By the
mhm,
time dinner comes around, you're usually not hungry. There are ways around it. Eat a lighter lunch, right? So you
mhm,
are hungrier by the time dinner time comes around. And so one of the ways that I encourage my clients to stay consistent, or how they can stay consistent, is to plan it out. And I'm not talking about meal prep. I'm talking about, again, being conscious that if I'm going to have dinner, or my family has dinner at 6 o'clock, and I want to be with my family at 6 o'clock, right? And I'm going to, they're going to be eating, then I'm going to have a light lunch. I'm just going to have a snack for lunch. So by the time I get home at 6 o'clock,
mhm,
I am hungry. Now, keep in mind that there's a downside to that. That if you're hungry, right, starving by the time 6 o'clock comes,
mhm.
oftentimes it makes it hard to control how much you eat, because you want to eat a lot, and so you always have to keep that in mind. And so again, it's about being conscious, and it's about planning.
Hmm. There you go. You and I think so much alike with this whole stuff and everything else. So I'll tell you what, Carlos, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, because you also said you had a paper or a pamphlet, or what did you say you had that you give people?
I have a template. I call it the 3 P's of exercise adherence,
The three
and it's
P's?
3 P's, and it's very
Okay.
simple. It's post it, plan it, and promote it. And what I mean by that is, you post it, you write it down somewhere, put it on a post-it note, put it on a note in front of the refrigerator, put it on your Google Calendar, so you know that you're going to work out today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plan it. What time are you going to work out? What are you going to do when you get to the gym, or what are you going to do during your workout? What I don't want is, I don't want you to be haphazardly walking around the gym trying to figure out what you should be doing. Should I use this
Okay.
machine? Should I stretch first? Should I do cardio first? No, you want to plan it out. And the third aspect, which is probably the most important, is promote it. Tell everybody in your inner circle what you're doing. You're trying to improve your health and well-being. And then tell them why. I'm trying to improve my health and well-being so I can take care of myself, which will allow me to take better care of you. So you tell your friends, you tell your family, you tell your loved ones, your spouses, your partners, your significant others, your coworkers, right? That your plan is to take better care of yourself. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
on a Friday night when your coworkers are going out for drinks, and they invite you, and you say, "No, I think I'm going to go to the gym. I plan on going to the gym tonight." You go to the gym, or you don't go to the gym. Just be sure that Monday morning somebody's going to ask you, "How was the gym?" And you can say, "The gym was great. I feel great." Or if you don't go to the gym, they're going to hold you accountable. Oftentimes, that will lead others in your inner circle in your life to join you. They become your cheerleaders. They motivate you. They hold you up when life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make it to the gym, and so it becomes much more of a family affair because now everybody is invested in your health and well-being.
That's great. Those are the three P's. I absolutely love that. And if somebody wanted to get that, now all this stuff I'm going to put it into the show notes as well. But if somebody wanted to get that from you, how would they do that?
They can just email me or contact me on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I also have a Facebook group called the Ageless Performers Forever. So any of those, I'd be more than happy to answer and get back to them.
Okay, and again, everything's going to be in the show notes. What was that? The ageless. What was that?
Ageless Performers Forever.
Ageless Performance Forever, and that's on Facebook.
Performers Forever.
Okay, performers. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
going to have to join that. I didn't know about that either. I'm going to have to join that if you don't mind.
No, of course. You're more than
Okay.
welcome.
All right. Well, Carlos, thank you for being a guest with Top Fitness Strategies today. Is there any parting words you'd like to give people who are watching right now or listening right now before we sign off?
If you're over the age of 50 and you haven't started prioritizing your self-care, now's the time to start. Right? It's never too late, but you don't have forever.
That's great. It's never too late, but you don't have forever. I love that. Carlos, thank you for being a part of Top Fitness Strategies. And again, folks, all the contact information, get the three Ps, plan, post it, plan it, and promote it. And he goes into more details with all that. Email him. And if you can't, or if you're watching this or listening to this in the car, you can always contact me and I can get word to Carlos. That's not a problem. And he'll get that information to you. So once again, all the links will be down there. Carlos, thank you for being part of Top Fitness Strategies. So
Andrew, thank you for the invitation.
Anytime, my friend. And I'll stop it here. So my name is Andrew. My guest is Carlos. Top Fitness Strategies. I am the face who runs the place. So until next time, this is me and Carlos. Ciao.